like to talk to you tonight about Turner syndrome. And what Turner syndrome is a genetic defect occurring in every 1 in 2,500 births. But 98% of all female fetuses with Turner syndrome are miscarried. What Turner syndrome is a genetic disorder where the sex chromosomes for a female are XX. In Turner syndrome, it is X0. The second X is missing. They don't know why. Right now, that's part of what they're studying. But they think that either the X fails to get transferred to the egg, or during conception, it is destroyed. The symptoms of Turner syndrome are short stature. The adult height of a Turner's patient is about 4'7". Ovarian failure, which causes infertility. A low hairline. One or horseshoe-shaped kidneys. Now this doesn't seem to have any effect on the function of the kidney or in the health of the patient. And in childhood, several and severe ear infections, leading to sometimes having to have tubes placed in the ears, which oftentimes causes some hearing loss in adulthood. And there seems to be heart issues in very many of them, most likely involving the left side of the heart for some reason. And it could be any number of those issues, heart issues. And in adulthood, there is a greater risk of developing type 2 diabetes and early onset osteoporosis caused by the failure of the ovaries to produce estrogen, which seems to not let the bones develop the calcium and bond with the calcium. And there are some learning disabilities associated with it, usually involving abstract thought, spatial relationships, coming down to problems with math. But over 90% of girls with Turners have normal intelligence. They used to think that mental retardation went along with that. But after further studies and intelligence tests came about, they found that normal intelligence. The diagnosis of Turner's is made with a test called a karyotype. What that is a normal blood test, and they isolate the chromosomes and they are mapped out. And they will focus on the sex chromosomes. If it's X0, the diagnosis of Turner's is made. There are several treatments depending on the severity and what you have. If you have the cardiac issues, that's treated asymptomatically. Hearing loss, all of that. But for the short stature, now they have what's called growth hormones that they will start to give to girls at about age 9. This can add about 3 to 4 inches if you're lucky. So you're still not looking at a real tall person, 5'3" at most. And then when a girl would have normally entered puberty at about 11 to 13, 14 years of age, she will start progesterone and estrogen for the rest of her life. And of course, if you have diabetes, you'll do the normal treatment for that. And for osteoporosis, you'll do the normal treatment for that. Now, because I have Turner's, this is a very personal issue for me. I was diagnosed at birth, which that in and of itself is unusual. Usually you're diagnosed around 11, when you normally would have started puberty, and you haven't. So I've always known that I've had Turners. So it was a little bit easier for me in some aspects. Of course, being short has its own challenges. You get made fun of in school when you're younger, so that has its own problems, but you deal with it. You let that go and you go on. But the main thing is things are always out of your reach. So if you go to the grocery store, the Coke is always up on the top shelf, and you have to either ask somebody for help or build a ladder to get to it. And clothes and shoe shopping have always been a challenge. Because when I was younger, as a teenager, they didn't make adult styles in my size. So I was shopping in the children's section. And that brings attention to yourself because you wear a little bit different clothes. So that was and shoe shopping is even harder because right now I'm a size 3 shoes. So when a lot of girls are wanting to buy high heels, for me to find high heels is usually I have to order them from some catalog, or hopefully some store has, sample ones. That's how I used to get them when I was a teenager. And I have slight hearing loss with the upper and lower sounds. So it's not too bad right now. But I tend to have to keep volumes up higher. That aggravates people around because my car, you get blown out of it. But also, since I knew from childhood that I couldn't have children, I was prepared for that. I didn't have the struggle that I see a lot of people going through. They've been married a year and wondering why they haven't had a child. I knew. My future partner knew that we would not have a child. So we made the decision together from day one whether to be childless or adopt. My husband and I chose to adopt. And for me, I see no difference in how I feel about my son than a woman who had her child the normal way feels about her children. So I don't think that's really an issue now. I was upset about it, I'll be honest, when I was younger, because we all want to have our own kid. But now that I've had an adopted child, like I said, he's mine. It doesn't seem any different to me. And in school, as I've said, math was always a challenge for me. I would struggle very hard. I still do. I can't balance a checkbook. And if I go to the store and it says 25% off or 10% off, I have to ask somebody how much that would be because I can't figure it out in my head. And if you tell me I get a 5% raise, I want you to tell me how much money that is. So that's, there are ways to get around that. And one of the things that always has aggravated, I think, a lot of us with Turners is that since it's so rare, most doctors have either never seen a Turner's patient or indeed don't even know what it is. So you have to explain it to them. And you're wondering, are they going to be able to treat me in regards to the Turners because they don't even know about it. So you have to do a lot of doctor shopping to find a doctor that knows about it and that knows how to